I want to take you on a journey of sorts into what may be the most self-defeating and self-pitying book tour of all time. Certainly high on the list. And no, it is not, in fact, Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre, I think we all get what's going on with that one, with that situation of the book tour. She's an independent now. You were the press secretary for Joe Biden. Now you're independent? You've left the Democrat Party because they finally couldn't prop up your boss anymore, whom you, Karine Jean-Pierre, were lying to the American people about. You, Karine Jean-Pierre, who said that it was a cheap fake when people shared video of the president having cognitive issues, cognitive breakdown. You, Karine Jean-Pierre, now would lecture us about how the Democrat Party abandoned him? Were they not supposed to? What exactly did she want them to do? She doesn't even know. She doesn't know. Makes no sense. But Kamala Harris, she's not just hoping to cash out on a pretty weak book tour and do the speaking circuit for a bit and then get some gig at MSNBC. No, Kamala Harris does think that she should have a leadership role in the Democrat Party and a leadership role for the country. Kamala Harris wants to be, make no mistake, wants to be president of these United States. But she's got a problem. She's Kamala Harris. Same person that we saw in this last election. It's not that we didn't know what we were dealing with. It's not that the American people weren't aware of Kamala Harris. It is, in fact, that she has tremendous deficiencies. And here is Jon Stewart, propagandist of the left. Jon Stewart, as he is talking to Kamala, this is cut 4, about whether Biden was competent to serve or not. Listen to this exchange, part of the book tour, play 4.
I believe he was fully competent to serve.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That surprises me, actually.
No, I do. There's a distinction to be made between running for president and being president.
What's the distinction?
Well, being a candidate for president of the United States is about being in a marathon at a sprinter's pace, having tomatoes thrown at you every step you take.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's more than a notion.
Get involved in public service, ladies and gentlemen.
And to be the seated president, the sitting president, while doing that, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a hard case to make for people that he didn't have the stamina to run, but he had the stamina to govern. Because I think most people view the presidency as a marathon run at a sprint with tomatoes being thrown at you in terms of governance.
Jon Stewart, way too gentle. He's a propagandist. Way too gentle with Kamala Harris. This is moronic. I mean, this is just insulting to the intelligence of everybody's watching. Oh, Joe Biden, it's okay for him to be commander-in-chief. It's okay for him to be the one who would be responding to a possible attack on the United States, an act of war, making decisions that affect hundreds of millions of Americans and billions of people around the world. He had plenty of gas in the tank for that. But to show up, remember, he's being ferried by Air Force One. I mean, to show up to give some speeches, he took it all the way to June, my friends. So we're to believe that his cognitive ability, his mental faculties weren't strong enough to take the campaign as the nominee from June to November, but they were strong enough for him to be president in June, and therefore in 2025 as well. Because, right, what would be the only thing that he wasn't able to do, according to Kamala, who's an absurd person, absurd. Jon Stewart, it's a tough case. Yeah, please. It's idiotic, John, and you know it. Where is the difference? He's president in June of 24. He's fine to do that, He's going to be fine then to be president in January of 25, but it's the whole campaigning thing in between that he can't handle. That was the part of it that he wasn't up for. And let me remind you, that's an energy issue, not a cognition issue. What we saw at the debate with Joe Biden and Donald Trump was somebody who has some stage or some level of dementia, which means that his brain is not functioning. His decision-making is not functioning as it should, which we also know because he had outsourced his presidency to the advisors around him. All of this adds up. But Kamala's out there trying to say, oh, the problem wasn't Joe Biden's ability to think. It was he needed more nap time to get through the campaign. You know, it's just not going to work. We're not all that dumb. We know what they did. We know the big lies they all told. And they're trying to, in some way, they're trying to push away that humiliation, that stink of being so utterly mendacious. But this is what happened. They lied to the American people about it. And one of the big problems they have is the person who should be best positioned to take back leadership for the Democrats, the former vice president, the former nominee, Kamala Harris, is completely tainted by her relationship to the lie about Joe Biden. And then we get to, well, also, Kamala, why is it that the American people, I mean, you lost every swing state to Trump. People know who you are. You were the vice president. Why weren't you able to do it? Jon Stewart continuing on. Like I said, he's being as friendly and gentle to Kamala as he can be. But he doesn't want to just look like a total clown buffoon himself. Here he is. This is cut 6. Why'd you lose, Kamala? Here's her explanation. Listen to it.
I do believe one of the biggest factors that was at play in the 107 days, we just didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time.
Or was it too much time? I mean, if you had done the election after 60 days, I think you win. Honestly, there seemed like a stagnation point. And then if you look at the lines, it doesn't look like what would have changed.
Well,
yeah.
But there's so many variables that went into the outcome of that race, because you can also look at where you started to see an infusion of resources going into mis and disinformation. I talk about, for example, the Elon Musk factor in the book. You can look at that there were certain inflection points that had an impact on the race. And to your point, it was, as David Plouffe said, it was those traditional inflection points, and there were others. So I don't want to reduce what we need to do going forward to any one factor around what we could have done better, what I could have done better in those 107 days, what was happening before. I think there are a multitude of factors that all need to be addressed.
Misinformation and disinformation? She's really going to go there? She's going to pull that one now? Oh, it's because of the misinformation and the disinformation. That's why she lost? And she didn't lose by a little bit. Lost, I understand the aggregate vote total, you can say, but that's not the election that's run. It's the Electoral College. And she lost every possible swing state entirely to Donald Trump. Every one. He was indicted 4 times by these sham deep state loser prosecutors. He survived a bullet through his ear, another assassination attempt, the entirety of the legacy media throwing all of their credibility in one giant bonfire in an effort to stop Trump. And she got absolutely crushed by him in this election. And she takes, you'll notice, no accountability for it. Have you heard her say anything like, I made a mistake? I read her book, by the way, which was written for her by other people. Have you heard her say that I made a huge error about anything? No. Did she learn anything from this process? No. It's always someone else's fault. It's always things outside her control. It's sexism or racism or Trumpism or disinformation or misinformation or... What about Kamala? You're just not very good at this? And you were able to ride a wave of DEI in the Democrat Party that was willing to push people to the very heights of power based upon elevated, superficial characteristics like gender and skin color or ethnicity. And that the American people have decided that we've had enough of that, and that we should just judge people by who they are, man or woman, any race. What are your capabilities? What's your skill set? What do you bring to the table? Bringing diversity to the table is not meaningful to people who care about those other things. This is the big change, and this is the world that Kamala does not want to be operating in, I might add. One in which you are held accountable and responsible for what you do as a person, your decisions, your abilities, your work ethic. Kamala wants to whine about how she's a victim. She's the former vice president of the United States, was handed the Democrat nomination, which a lot of Democrats didn't want to do. And now she complains about it. And everybody else, I read her book, everybody else makes mistakes. Everybody else did the dumb things. She doesn't say, never mind, I'm sorry. She doesn't say, I'll do better next time in any meaningful way, or I'll change. Remember what she said about Biden? Would you change anything about Biden? No. Because she just thinks she's supposed to win for showing up. The people in charge are supposed to tell her how great she is and that she now has all this power. And this election with Donald Trump, where he crushed her, is a repudiation of the world that she had been living in before, at least in her own mind, and certainly in the state of California, where she just gets to show up and that's enough. She doesn't have to be impressive. She doesn't have to be good. She just has to be there. Well, turned out, not this time. And I don't think it's going to happen next time either. Gold is as valuable as it's ever been, whether you're keeping track of the scoreboard of this or not. Guess what? It's grown about 50% in value. Gold is a smart long-term investment. Look at this over the recent years and recent decades. Gold's long-term thesis remains sound. A lot of reasons why. If you're thinking about buying gold for the first time, it's an excellent time to do so. Birch Gold Group makes you this offer. Buy gold from them this month and get free silver. For every $5,000 from Birch Gold that you buy in advance of Veterans Day, they'll send you a free patriotic silver round that includes the American and Gadsden flags on it. Birch Gold can help you own gold as well by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they'll send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. And if you're current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer for you. They're waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. Text my name, Buck, to 989898 for Birch Gold's free info kit and claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchase before the end of the month, or before Veterans Day, rather. Text my name, Buck, to 989898. Text Buck to 989898 today.